Surprising and exciting news came from the South Korean entertainment world. After several weeks of worries and rumors about his health condition, Cha Eun-woo finally recovered and returned to the military barracks with a warm smile. The moment was not only good news for his fans around the world, but also for his colleagues in the military who had been watching his fight up close. No one expected that the day on which Eun-woo again walked with full of energy, it would be one of the most emotional days among those who shared life inside the harsh and disciplined training camp. The moment the military car carrying him stopped in front of the main gate, the atmosphere instantly changed. The midday sun illuminated the compound with a golden light, as if welcoming the return of one of the most beloved figures among the young soldiers. Eun-woo stepped out wearing a neat field uniform, her hair still cut short as usual, but this time there was something different. There was a gleam of life in her eyes that had previously dimmed. From the first moment he entered the military, everyone knew that he was not just a celebrity trying to fit in, but someone who was really trying hard to be part of the military family. One of his close associates, a soldier named Kang Min-jae, was the first to approach him with quick steps. He immediately patted Eun-woo on the shoulder and said in a trembling voice, "You're back, you're finally back." Simple words are like blowing up the atmosphere that has been held. Everyone knows that Eun-woo's recovery period is not easy. He was treated for a decreased physical condition due to intensive training and lack of rest. However, what weighs most is the emotional burden that he has to bear, away from the camera spotlight and the glamorous world of entertainment, now only facing himself in the midst of the rigors of military life. The atmosphere in the barracks turned warm and full of laughter. His colleagues ran around a little to greet him, some carrying bottles of water and snacks, others whistling excitedly, welcoming the figure who had been giving them a silent boost. Eun-woo, although famous for her composure, can't help but smile broadly. "I miss you," he said in a voice quiet enough to keep everyone quiet. "I even miss your noisy voice every morning." The little joke was immediately greeted with boisterous laughter and a pat on the back. A sergeant who had been watching their training all this time stood on the sidelines with his hands folded on his chest, his eyes slightly glazed. "I'm not going to lie," he said later. "I'm proud of you, Cha Eun-woo. There are not many people like you who are able to go through difficult times with their heads held high and their hearts kept warm." The words were spoken without a microphone, without a camera, and yet they felt so sincere. Eun-woo bowed deeply, saluted, then looked at the sergeant with a look of respect and gratitude. In the harsh days of the military, relationships between soldiers are often the main foundation for mental strength. They eat together, train together, even share stories at night when the barracks lights are dim. Eun-woo, despite coming from the entertainment world, has never set herself apart. He took part in every task, never complaining despite extreme weather or heavy physical training. His colleagues still remember the days when he, with a pale face, nevertheless forced himself to complete cross-country running exercises, just so as not to overload his team. So when he finally fell ill, everyone felt like they were losing a part of their own spirit. Now, seeing him standing back in the middle of the field with a soothing smile, the soldiers knew that the spirit had not yet died out, maybe even stronger than before. Eun-woo walked slowly towards the barracks, greeting one by one with handshakes and light hugs. He asked them how they were doing, joked a little, and even praised the cuisine of the military kitchen, which he said was better than the hospital. In between the laughter, several soldiers were seen wiping their eyes silently, hiding emotions that were difficult to explain. It is not every day that they watch a person return from a difficult period with such determination. When night falls, the atmosphere of the barracks becomes calmer. Dim lights illuminated tired but happy faces. Eun-woo sits in a corner of the room with a cup of warm tea in her hand. Some of his colleagues joined in and they began to share stories. Some talk about family, some laugh at the memory of funny exercises, and some are silent, just enjoying the moment of the return of a friend. "I learned a lot," Eun-woo said quietly, staring out the window where the dark sky was dotted with tiny stars. "About my body, about my mind, about the meaning of the word grateful. I thought I was strong before, but it turns out that true strength comes from people who never give up on me." Those words made the atmosphere quiet for a moment. Everyone understands exactly what it means. During the recovery period, His colleagues in the military never stopped sending messages of support. Some write letters by hand, some send small notes containing jokes to keep him smiling. Even when EUN WOO can't be physically present, her spirit remains a part of them. Now they welcome him not only as an idol, but as a brother returning from a long struggle. The next morning, training resumed as usual. However, this time there was something different in the air. Every step felt lighter. Every shout of command sounded more excited. EUN WOO stood in the front row, her shoulders straightened, her eyes focused, but her lips held a faint smile that made everyone around her excited. The coach who saw him gave only a small nod, a sign of appreciation that did not need many words. EUN WOO's presence brings a positive energy that is rarely found in a place as harsh as a military camp. When the time of rest came, several soldiers gathered under a shady tree, enjoying the fresh air. EUN WOO sits between them, sharing bread and stories. One of them asked curiously, "How does it feel when you know you're going to get well?" EUN WOO was silent for a moment, then smiled softly. "It was like looking at the sun after a long storm," he replied. "You know the sky exists, but you forget how beautiful it is until you finally see it again." All who heard fell silent, and in that silence, EUN WOO's words felt penetrating to the heart. Outside the camp, news of his recovery began to spread quickly. Korean media began reporting that EUN WOO had returned to duty and was in good condition. Fans filled the social media platform with messages of love and prayers, expressing how proud they were at the steadfastness of his idol. Many wrote that EUN WOO is not only an idol in terms of appearance, but also in her courage and humility. Some fans even wrote open letters, conveying how inspired they were by her recovery journey. But for EUN WOO herself, the spotlight wasn't that important. He is more focused on his daily life in the camp, on the tasks and responsibilities that must be lived. "I just want to do my best, like everyone here," he told his boss one day. "They treat me like family, so I want to repay them by being a strong part of this family." His words reflect his sincere and humble attitude, something that makes him even more respected by everyone around him. The days passed quickly. EUN WOO returns to her routine of exercise, morning apples, and night watch duty. However, whenever a person feels tired or demoralized, they just need to look in his direction. There, they would see someone who had gone through the storm but still stood tall. He doesn't talk much, but his presence alone is already a source of motivation. Even a senior coach once said, "There is nothing more inspiring than seeing someone come back from the lowest point with a heart that remains sincere." One afternoon, after heavy training, the sky began to overcast and it rained slowly. The soldiers ran back to the barracks, laughing under the water. EUN WOO pauses in the middle of the field, looks up, letting the rain wash over her face. "Cold, but soothing," he said quietly with a smile. One of his colleagues patted him on the shoulder and said, "You're crazy, EUN WOO." He just laughed. In that simple moment, everyone knew that he was truly back. Not just his physique, but his soul. In the last night before the next rotation of duty, the barracks were again crowded. They held a simple evening of togetherness. No music, no parties, only laughter and warm conversations. EUN WOO stood up and thanked me. "I will never forget how you waited for me, how you made me feel that I was still part of it all, even when I was far away." The voice is hoarse, but sincere. "I don't know how to repay it other than by being the best version of myself here." Everyone stood up and applauded. Some even embraced him shamelessly. In the often harsh world of the military, such moments are a reminder that behind all discipline and rules, there is an unusually strong humanitarian side. EUN WOO looks at the faces around her. Colleagues who have now become brothers, and in her eyes there is a sparkle of tears that she holds back. He patted his chest and said quietly, "You are family to me."